Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the second half of our session here today. We've got three speakers that will be presenting, and then we will have all of the presenters, even from earlier in the afternoon, come back and have one last half hour of Q&A. So we are going to start with our first presenter. Each one will be speaking for about 20 minutes, and we'll ask them to offer just a couple of minutes towards the end for specific questions you might have of them. But please, we'll definitely want your questions for that last half hour Q&A. So we'll get started here. I'm Christine Herzog, Managing Director of the Smart Grid Library, and I'm very pleased to introduce our first speaker here. His name is Jim Meadows, and he's the Director of the Smart Meter Programs for Pacific Gas and Electric, which happens to be my utility in California. So thank you very much, Jim, and let's give him our full attention.
Thank you, Christine, and welcome back from the break. If you were here earlier, Ogie from Opower did say that if you Google pitchfork-wielding moms, you get a smart meter as the first hit. He did help me out by not mentioning that the rest of the hits on page one are PG&E, in fact, but we'll hopefully I can explain why a little bit. So I'll just do a little bit of a background of our program, our smart meter, where we're at, where we stand, how we got here. Talk about some lessons learned on the customer engagement, and then some lessons learned in just how well this is working for customers and the utility. So PG&E, just a quick introduction. It does cover roughly half the land mass of the state of California, not outside of that state, all of it in our state and therefore regulated by our state PUC. 6 million customers, thus our 6 million lessons learned that house something like 15 million people. We are the number one single utility in the United States with 70,000 solar homes now, about 27% of all of them across the U.S. Started our smart meter program back in 2005. We're at 9.5 million meters converted, that's electric and gas, on our way to 10 million at some point. Next year we'll finish this up. We get hourly intervals for electric and daily for gas, although hourly is available if we decide to upgrade at some point. So already, and I'll even talk about this, the fact that you become operational as a utility was a lesson learned as soon as you put in the first meters. We collect 90 billion reading intervals every year now. So here's sort of the 6 years or so timeline that we've been in business. This is the timeline of actually deploying meters as well. There was years before this of deciding what technology to use, proving it in a pilot, discussing with the regulators and customer advocacy groups how to go about this. So this is just sort of since the meters started going in 2007. I put on this slide some of the staggered deployment and releases of our IT systems and some of our benefits to customers. And Ogie mentioned this a while in his presentation as well, which is that probably is one of our lessons learned as well. To have this to do over again, we would launch all these things at the same time as the meter goes in. The more you sort of separate, we found out, the meter installation from what you can give your customers in terms of their web presentment or their green button download or their apps available to them or whatever it is, the benefits they're looking for, the new tariff that's possible. The more you separate that, the more they consider it first a meter exchange and they wonder why, and second, when are you going to do something for me on this? So we would reconnect those as much as you could do that. Just this year, 2012, our latest sort of twist on this is now we have a customer opt-out after some regulatory interactions this year and with consumer groups and with our customers. And that's another thing we would offer from the start. This thing never came out well in California as a mandatory program. Peak day, 18,700 meters we installed with our contract and internal labor. That's a meter every 2.5 seconds on that day. Almost done. Here's what we're putting in. It's on the electric side, it's a product from Silver Springs Network in the U.S., and it's a separate network for gas. We decided because of the collection necessary and the two-way or not two-way, the security needs, the storage, how many reads per day, and so on, we were just literally better served with 2 networks rather than trying to combine it onto one. So electric network from Silver Springs Networks, and the gas one is from Aclara, also out of the U.S. Bring it back. You can see I note on here the various redundancies and capabilities and resiliencies of this network, which is collecting those 90 billion reads, among other functions. So on to the lessons learned, which is, I think, why we're here today, really. We now are able to do a multi-prong approach out to our customers as they get the meter. They nearly right away go on and have access to the new tariffs. I'll talk about one in a minute. They have multiple ways that we can reach out and touch and provide the information to customers: web, call center, direct mail, a number of things. We present all at once. And so our customers now have multiple ways they can get through and find out what this means, what they can do with their smart meter and smart meter data. Multiple languages. It is important that you have to mention the install process. Again, Ogie had an example. He got his letter from Washington, D.C., not us, but we also send a letter to our customers describing the install process. But it goes immediately on to go look for these things. Here's some actions and benefits and items that you might be interested in now as a customer that you have not been able to do with PG&E before that. So in fact, here's our O-Power presentment page that you get if, as a customer, as Christine can do this, click on her My Energy account at pgne.com. Look, you can get your hours across days, weeks, months, whatever you want. Compare it to weather. Compare it to tariff events that we call. And we have now nicely hundreds of thousands of customers that are going on and viewing their data and doing something about it. There is more to this in terms of you can click through, like Ogie described, and get actions possible for a customer. They also get what he described, which is a letter and other things of comparison. But this is one of the prime ways they can see their interval data on our website. 2 million of our 6 million customers have set up an electronic account with PG&E. Beyond that, we have an energy alert. So in California, it's tier-based pricing. The more you use, the more it costs. So we found our customers like to be warned of that. Instead of just getting the bill at the end of the month, found out they went to tier 4, tier 5. Now they'll know they can sign up and the billing engine will make a prediction off of how far you into your billing cycle of which tier you'll end up in. And you can get that early warning sign. Find out if, in fact, the actions you're taking are doing good. 77,000 customers have done that. Signed up for that. Beyond that, we're one of the first 2 utilities ourselves in San Diego Gas and Electric to launch the green button, which is a standardized format that the White House and technologists in D.C. decided would be useful for all Americans to get. We were one of the first 2 utilities to launch it, which is click on that button on your My Energy account and you get a downloadable sort of Microsoft Excel version of all your data. Or you can now, through Green Button Connect, send it to an apps provider of your choice, as long as you've subscribed and given us permission to send that data, and they can present it in different ways, different forms for you to take action. And then I talked about that there's an opt-out program. So the other thing we do in customer engagement is we make sure our customers do know and understand their options under the program. If we learned nothing else, we found out that customers just don't like to be jammed into mandatory programs. They like to know that this is something available to them and they can choose it or not. So far, about 0.5% of our customers have chosen to opt out. So we don't think it'll be selected by a large percentage of our customers at all. But it is literally part of our engagement process now, 31,000 to date. So again, I just want to remind everybody, if we had it to do over again, all those benefits and feature sets, we wish, the main lesson learned is do all that, offer all that as you put their meter in. So more information or lessons learned, though, I wanted to cover is what are we getting out of this? How is it working? If we have 9 million meters in, how's that all going? And this slide depicts before smart meter. It's a little hard to read, I'm sure, from the back, but this is sort of our peak summer load in California. We're a summer peaking utility, and this is a little old, but this is 16,000 megawatts through our various classes of customers. Well, 71% of that was not addressable at all with interval meters before smart meter. So yes, we had programs and metering capability at the high-end commercial and industrial, but not for really effectively the bulk of our demand. Now we do. So we offer now time-varying programs down to small commercial residential levels. The first sort of out-the-gate tariff that we now offer is called, oops, keep clicking here, is called Smart Rate, and this is data 75,000 of our customers have selected to go, have opted onto Smart Rate since they have a smart meter. And here's real live data out of what customers can do. The way this program works is 15 days a year, we pull a critical event day, and from the hours of 2 to 7, they're going to get surcharged if they don't, they're going to get surcharged for whatever their demand is. In exchange, they get a credit for all the off-peak hours. So this customer, as you can see, that's sort of top bars. It's another detailed slide, but the top bar shows their usage over the 10-day average before the critical day was called, and in fact, the day before. And then when we called the program and they get advance, they get notice the day before, sure enough, this family found a way to basically shut their entire load off for the 2 to 7 period. You can see, like all programs, you get a little bit of an unintended consequence in that they had to cool the house at 7 o'clock because it was, in fact, a hot day, higher than 40 degrees C that day. So, but it's a program. It's available with the smart meters. People are using it. 80% of our customers on this program find a way to save themselves money despite the surcharges. And we've had a 13% load reduction. Proven. This is not pilot. This is our real-life tariff we have available now. Further, some of the other things that the utility has been able to get and gain out of smart meters, $150 million in expense saved in billing. Less billing issues, less missing data, less having to go back and pick up manual reads if a customer has a question about their bill or their account. It's electronic now. Our delayed bill stat is down 78%. Fantastic billing numbers. We do use the remote disconnect and connect switch for electric only. We don't do it for gas. But on electric, we do, cutting the time to restore an account down when a truck had to go out to the house from 73 minutes now down to less than 4. Power status check. So now when customers call in and think they're reporting an outage, that sometimes it is in their own breaker panel or fuse box in their house, and we can know that now. The IVR system, in fact, at PG&E will automatically send a ping to your meter and try to determine if you are in power or not. We also use the outage information off the system to scope and assist in the restore effort of our outages. voltage information off the system. We've been out now repairing transformers using voltage variances in the field from live data, and are making now condition-based maintenance runs to repair those as they show themselves. And transformer loading management, sometimes we now know that transformers are undersized for the load at the peak time, and in fact they will wear themselves out too quickly. So we're able to compile that data and go out to the field now and use it. And yeah, unusual and suspicious usage, including what another speaker used, the non-technical losses in these systems. So we go out in pursuit to those as well. When I sort of started out, though, another lesson learned in general is that to do all these things and to compile and to monitor this data, you need to have your operations center up and completely functional and going from effectively the first meter in. It's not something that comes later on or you should build to. You need to think that through as well at the start, so you can test your data, analyze it, study customer behavior, and act quickly. So with that, I think this, to close it out here, this is just the first leg of our smart grid journey at PG&E. So now we have the framework and a backbone, technical backbone, in order to build from and leverage from. The rest of the way, I think the key word is the rest of the waves of this are integrating with other applications, with other programs and initiatives and capabilities that the utility will roll out from here. But now we've got it started. We're at the tail end of getting the smart meter system in and going. With that, I think a couple of quick questions, right, Christine, and then I'll be around for later too.
Absolutely. Well, let's first give Jim a hand here for his presentation. And I do want to open it up to the audience for questions. There's got to be all the way in the back. I'm running back with the mic now.
Hi there, Tim Probert from New Power. Could you quantify, I may have missed it, I'm sorry if I missed it, but did you quantify how much the customer has saved, the consumer has saved by having a smart meter?
We did quantify it. In fact, we file a report with the regulator in California, so in sort of dollar amount off their bill. Yeah, it is in a report. Don't remember the exact amount, but again, 80% of customers did save money relative to not being on that rate.
Because otherwise they get hit with the $75 opt-out fee.
With it's 50 cents per kilowatt hour during those critical hours.
Okay.
Only on 15 days a year, 5 hours on those.
So if I want to know how much your customers have saved, where do I find that out?
Well, I can forward you the report. I'm sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Which report was that? Sorry.
I'm sorry?
Whose report? Whose report?
It's filed with the California PUC.
Okay.
From
fine.
PG&E.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? This was a fascinating presentation, especially for me, being part of the territory. I'll come up to you there, Zoe. One question, Jim, that I have is, have you any comments, were there any lessons learned regarding privacy? Did you have to provide any particular information about privacy to consumers? I know health was a bigger issue, I think, in Northern California, but is there any lessons learned there?
Well, I think both of them ended up being a customer education in terms of what are the health risks per se, and what are the sort of privacy risks as well. So we do take both of those on in our customer engagement. I think that when we did begin to offer the Optout program, people's concerns started to significantly go away, that they didn't have to be in this program. So if they have continuing privacy concerns, I think the Optout program took care of that.
Zoe McLeod from Consumer Focus. Can I just clarify, if customers do opt out, do they face any kind of financial penalty or sort of downside?
They do pay charges for opting out that opt-in customers would not. The California regulators has set it at a price of $75 in order to make the option, and then $10 per month. That's right. One time 75 and then $10 a month. And that basically that basically covers the utilities expenses for handling the program and now going back to manual meter reading.
Okay, I think we will stop there and save any other questions for the last Q&A. So thanks again, Jim.